a servant's perspective. The bustling streets of London were alive with whispers and rumours, the air thick with a palpable sense of unease. As Maria, a young servant girl, hurried through the winding alleys towards the towering spires of Whitehall Palace, she could feel the weight of the city's collective anxiety pressing down upon her. It was the year 1553, and the realm of England was in the throes of a momentous transition. The death of the young King Edward VI had ushered in a new era, one marked by the ascension of his half-sister, Mary Tudor, to the throne. Now known as Queen Mary I, the new monarch had wasted no time in asserting her authority, determined to restore the Catholic faith to its former glory. As Maria navigated the bustling corridors of the royal household, she could sense the palpable tension that permeated the air. The once vibrant court had taken on a somber, almost oppressive atmosphere, as the Queen's staunch adherence to Catholic doctrine began to reshape the very fabric of the kingdom. Maria had been born into a life of service, her days spent tending to the needs of the noble families that occupied the grand halls of Whitehall. Yet, despite her humble station, she had always possessed a keen intellect and a thirst for knowledge that set her apart from her peers. Now, as she observed the unfolding events, her curiosity was piqued, and she found herself drawn into the maelstrom of religious and political turmoil that threatened to engulf the nation. The young servant girl had grown up in the shadow of the palace, her ears attuned to the whispers and rumours that echoed through the corridors. She had witnessed the power struggles and intrigues that had defined the reigns of Henry VIII and Edward VI. But the ascension of Queen Mary marked a new and unsettling chapter in England's history. As Maria went about her daily tasks, she could not help but overhear the hushed conversations of the other servants, each one laced with a sense of trepidation and foreboding. The stories they shared painted a grim picture of Protestant leaders being imprisoned, of public burnings and executions, of a queen who seemed determined to crush any dissent with an iron fist. One day, as Maria was tending to the Queen's chambers, she caught a glimpse of the woman who now sat upon the throne. Mary Tudor, with her piercing gaze and unyielding demeanour, cut an imposing figure, a stark contrast to the gentle and pious image that had been cultivated in the early days of her reign. Maria felt a shiver run down her spine as she observed the Queen, her heart racing with a mixture of awe and unease. In the days that followed, Maria found herself drawn deeper into the web of intrigue that surrounded the royal court. She listened intently as the other servants whispered of the Queen's growing paranoia, her obsession with rooting out any trace of heresy within her kingdom. The stories they shared were harrowing, tales of families torn apart, of men and women dragged from their homes and condemned to the flames for the crime of holding fast to their Protestant faith. As Maria's understanding of the situation deepened, she found herself grappling with a growing sense of unease. The Queen's actions, once cloaked in the rhetoric of religious restoration, now seemed to be driven by a darker, more sinister agenda. Maria could not help but wonder how long the people of England could endure such oppression before the simmering discontent erupted into open rebellion. Yet, even as she contemplated the gravity of the situation, Maria knew that her own position as a servant in the royal household placed her in a precarious position. To speak out against the Queen's policies would be to risk everything: her livelihood, her freedom, and perhaps even her life. The weight of this dilemma weighed heavily upon her, as she found herself torn between her desire to stand up for what she believed was right and the overwhelming sense of self-preservation that threatened to consume her. As the days turned into weeks, Maria's resolve began to waver. She found herself questioning the very foundations of her beliefs, wondering if the price of defiance was too high to bear. Yet, even as she grappled with these doubts, a small ember of resistance continued to smoulder within her, fueled by the stories of those who had dared to challenge the Queen's authority. In the end, Maria knew that she could not remain a passive observer